Oh, ho, ho. Sounds like Christmas. Ho, 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 and a bottle of rum. Happy Halloween to all of y'all. Hope y'all are having a fantastic celebration. Yeah, Mondays aren't always so much fun. Little bit more fun when it's Halloween time, and a lot more fun when you guys are out here hanging with me as well. So let me start off with a big old SKD 143. I love my wife. I love my kids. Love the reality fans. Especially love y'all out here. And I love Halloween. Yeah, here's the thing. Cliff Notes, because I was on Big Brother, and that's how I was introduced to a lot of y'all, and vice versa. Yeah, we talk a lot of reality TV, and we'll talk about that tonight. I'm not ignoring that, but it's Halloween, so I figured we'd tell a few scary stories, some haunted houses experiences, dressing up for Halloween, candy, everything else. I got a few stories. Now here's one thing. I got to put my glasses on. I was trying to give you the look, but unfortunately, turn it down just a little bit. Hold on. Bear with me, guys. All right. That's fair. Now I can actually see. All right. Let's see. All right. So let me get right into it. Let me start off with take a quick look at who has out here. Azuro Karishma. Hey, Azuro. Mark Taylor, Michelle Moore, Jake the Horror Movie Geek, Cindy Hire. Hey, Cindy sent me a picture of her Halloween costume earlier. It's a good one. We'll maybe talk about. I want to hear what y'all's costumes are for those of you who are dressing up. Ma is angry. Hey, Ma, how are you doing? Brian Hostutler talk about getting back to the game. Yeah, there's some sports going on as well. Keith Franken, Angie Hung, no gymnastics because of Halloween. So yeah, I was wondering who else celebrates Halloween. The Canadians do. In Mexico, it's more the Day of the Dead and all that. But did they celebrate over in Europe? I'm not really sure. Let's see who else. Michelle Moore, I think it's always worth saying again. Vicky Stone as well, and the Angels' grandma. Happy Halloween to you as well. Terry Thomas, Wyatt Garrett. Hey Wyatt, how are you doing? Welcome to all of y'all who are watching live. Those of you who may be watching it on replay just a little bit better. Fun to have the Halloween. Who needs to be out asking for candy? I bought a little candy. We'll as soon as I get out the show, we're going to be handing out candy to the kids that come by and all that. Hopefully, there'll be some left over from me because it's my favorite part of the year. A little bit of candy here and there. So, how are y'all doing? Again, let me say this. It's kind of getting in the way of Halloween, but this is my 100th episode, which 100 episodes. That's basically 4 weeks shy of 2 years of doing this thing. I had no clue when I started doing this show that I'd still be out here every Monday doing it. But one of the big reasons is because of y'all out here. As long as y'all have me, I'll keep on doing it. So thanks to each and every one of y'all. And here's to 50 more. Here's to 100 more. I think I may be 70 something years old. I'm still welcome to my 1000th episode. What is that? 900? That's 18 years. Yeah, that works out about right. So yeah, maybe we'll be out here in another 20 years or so. And by then, I expect some of y'all will have been on Big Brother as well. And then we'll have some stories to share about that also. All right, let's see what's going on. A couple of comments before we get into it. Vicky says, don't let the screaming in the background scare you. It's just the neighborhood children trying to get out of the cage. Hansel and Gretel? Yeah. I always wonder, while I'm doing this show, there may be a little screaming back behind me as well. We've got some people around the corner from us who did it up well. We used to have, I don't know if they still do, we used to have in our neighborhood one house that would always do a haunted house. They turned their garage into a haunted house, and they didn't leave anything. They went hardcore. It didn't matter if it was a 6-year-old kid, a 16-year-old kid. Everyone went screaming out of that place at the end of it. It was quite the haunted house. So everyone would line up at that house and do it. It was always a lot of fun hitting the neighborhood, doing that kind of stuff. We're going to talk about some other haunted houses as well. All right, Mark Taylor saying, what was the most embarrassing costume you ever had as a kid? Mine was wearing my sister's dress. All right, I can see how that maybe would do it. All right. Let me think about that. All right, here's my most embarrassing costume. Wearing a clown suit with a Frankenstein mask was a little interesting, to say the least. But my most embarrassing costume, one year, a little bit older. Kind of, yeah, as you get older, you don't really worry quite so much until last minute, and then you got to come up with something. One year I went as a space alien or devil. I never did quite settle on what that was, but I wore red long underwear, down to the wrist, down to the feet, red long underwear as my costume. I put Vaseline over my entire face from the neck all the way up, covered my face in Vaseline, and then took silver glitter and just held it up, put my face back, sprinkled glitter across my entire face until my whole face. I look like Ace Frehley from Kiss. That's probably what I was going for thinking about it. My face was completely silver. Walking around my long underwear on Halloween night, asking for candy and everything, talking about hot. Because here's the thing, I know people up north. It may be something said for wearing thick costumes, because it can get a little chilly on Halloween. Not so much in Texas. I remember that particular Texas wearing long underwear, Vaseline just coating my face, and it was probably 85, 90 degrees outside, and I was miserable. And every house I'd come up to, people would say, "Who are you?" Well, what? I'm a space alien. It's whatever. And then when I got done at the end of the evening, it took forever. I don't know how many paper towels and washcloths to get all that stuff off my face. For the next 2 weeks, I was still finding silver glitter everywhere. It was inside the Big Brother house. Smashing pies in each other's faces was pretty miserable because you get that sour whipped cream everywhere. Kind of the same thing with that silver glitter. Just absolutely get it everywhere. But yeah, that maybe was a costume that if I thought it through just a little bit more, maybe I would have done something a little bit different. But whatever, you live and learn, right? I had some fun ones over the years as well. Some of it, the manufactured kits, the ones that you go down and buy and all that. I remember one year I worked at a haunted house my mom was big into March of Dimes as a charity, and so they would always work at the haunted house, and so my brothers would go and work as well. And I know one year working at the haunted house, I was a Jawa. Remember from Star Wars? That would walk around and borrow stuff from people and trade them. That's what I did. We had a Star Wars canteen as part of this haunted house. And so because I was a little bit younger, I was a little bit shorter at the time than the grown-ups. So I had a full brown outfit like the Jawas had. I had two little blinking eyes in front, so all you could see were little white lights. And I'd walk around, just creep out people, sneaking up behind them and things like that. So I was a Jawa one year, and then I recycled that costume. Next year, I became like a zombie Friar Tuck the next year. Wore the same brown outfit, but then I put zombie scars all over my face and everything. And that year, I actually was working my first year at Six Flags Over Texas. And they always encourage the employees to dress up. And so I was the zombie Friar Tuck the next year, which was a lot of fun. And then some of y'all may have seen it. Actually, if you haven't seen it, go out on Instagram and you can check out my story that I posted a little bit earlier this morning. Second year I was working at Six Flags Over Texas. So I was about 17 or so. Our entire shop, souvenir store that I worked at, decided to go dressed as all the characters from Rocky Horror Picture Show. Y'all know that one, right? It's been around for a while now. Back then, since we were all under the drinking age, so we couldn't go to nightclubs and stuff. So when we got through working, because I worked the night shift, when we got through working, it'd always be just a little before midnight. We'd run across the street to the midnight movies and watch Rocky Horror. So we all dressed up. And of course, I'm the one who dressed up as Frankenfurter. And so if you look at the Instagram story, I actually wore that. Six Flags management kind of talked a little bit to decide whether mine was okay enough, appropriate enough to wear, and finally said, yeah, whatever. It wasn't too risque. So I dressed up as Frankenfurter one year. So I've had a few fun costumes over the years. And this one, try that Johnny Depp look. Get out of here, Amber. Go on, get out of here. I love the Pirates of the Caribbean movie. So Johnny Depp, I say it like, here's to you, my friend. I'm Jack Sparrow. That's the best I can do for Johnny Depp. But yeah, I start off as a skeleton, then kind of combine with a pirate, and you never know where your skills will take you. I'm not gonna take all the credit for this. Sharon helped me a lot. I'm not so much into the face makeup and all of that, so she helped me a little bit figure out the best ways to do it. I think it turned out all right. I think I could go outside and scare a few kids if I run around, right? Not the objective. Not the objective, but I'll hand out some candy when we get down here. All right, Ma's saying, when is a vampire in the 7th grade had a bunch of white makeup and fake blood, accidentally tasted it, and it was disgusting. Yeah, I can see that. I think that fake blood is basically corn syrup or something. I don't think there's a whole lot more to it than Karo syrup or corn syrup or something else. So, yeah, I can see how that may not have the best taste in the world. I did the similar thing when I was Zombie Fire Tuck. I took that stuff and I just poured it all over me. I don't remember it tasting horrible, Ma, but what I remember is after a while, it got to be so sticky. It just, again, I was working at Six Flags. So, one, it just got sticky and irritating on your skin. But the other thing, there's something, it's got to be the corn syrup. I felt like it attracted every little mosquito and fly that was at Six Flags over Texas. I look like a zombie Friar Tuck, but what I actually look like was a Pigpen from the Peanuts comics, if y'all remember those. A long time ago. The one that just walked around with the cloud over his head, because I don't know. What a sad character just to have it be so dirty you got the flies flying around. But that's what I felt like. So yeah, I get you, Ma. That fake blood looks kind of cool, but sometimes gets a little irritating after a while. But yeah, I had fun wearing costumes over the years. I had fun doing that. And then as I got older, you reach an age where you go do the trick or treating, and it's great. Then after a while, you start feeling like you're almost a little too cool for it. You still go because you want to get the candy, but you're kind of underneath saying, yeah, I'm not going to look like I'm too into it because I'm too cool for that. And then after a while, you stop doing that and you either go to parties and things like that, or that's when I started working at the haunted houses and had a lot of fun doing that as well. Now, the first year, I went as a Jawa, and that was kind of cool. Walking around scaring people and all that. The second year, a little bit tougher. We had that year a whole table filled with all kinds of horrific organs that we got from a butcher, a slaughterhouse. And we had all this stuff laying on the table to look gross. One of them was a cow's heart that we put a baggie inside of it with a tube that went underneath the table. And my job that year was to sit underneath that table and blow into a little tube so that the heart would beat the whole time. When people, they'd come up and they'd start looking at it, and all of a sudden, I'd blow into it and the heart would do this a few times. I'll jump back and act scared. Or if they got a little too close to the table, I'd reach out from underneath the table and grab their ankles and tickle them and things like that. I almost got my hand crushed a few times. But I'll tell you this, people can jump pretty quick when suddenly something grabs their ankle. You know what I remember about that particular part of that haunted house that year? We had all this stuff. And haunted house ran for, 2 weeks or so. And it was the same disgusting stuff from day one until day 2. At the end, we'd go put it in a refrigerator at this place we were doing the haunted house, but still got a little nasty. Right up near the end, we had some guy came in, little too much to drink, as sometimes happens in those kind of things. Little too much to drink. And at the end of the table, we had a whole bunch of like not turkey legs like you get at the Renaissance Festival, but just like chicken legs, just old chicken claws with the meat on them and all, just disgusting. This guy trying to show off grabbed one of those things, reached over, took a big old bite of week and a half old rotted chicken meat, took a bite, took about 2 seconds before he spit out and just about added his own flair to that table as he turned. Fortunately, he made it to a trash can before he started throwing up. But yeah, I don't think he'll ever eat anything in a haunted house again. It's kind of dangerous, right? Yeah, in the first place, it's kind of dangerous. But there you go. I always remember that guy. Got a little too big for his britches and ended up throwing up in front of the girls he was trying to impress. And we just laughed the whole. I wouldn't have been laughing so much if his aim had been a little more towards me than towards the trash can. But afterwards, it was he kind of got his comeuppance, right? All right, what else do we have on? Yeah, I started thinking Halloween, all these stories that come, and then my kids. Talk a little bit about our family tradition, what we used to do. When my kids were younger, we would each go get a pumpkin. Sharon, myself, our 2 kids, and then my in-laws. So we'd have 6 pumpkins. We would all carve the pumpkins around the table, not on Halloween night, a couple of nights beforehand. We'd all carve our pumpkins and we'd compare them. I tried to get some pictures and I just couldn't figure out a way to put them on here. Maybe I'll post them later. But it was funny because Sharon always did the very standard triangle eyes, a little mouth with a couple of teeth. It took her about 10 minutes to do it. I, being the engineer, would go out and find online the drawings of some complex dragon eating a unicorn or something like that. And I would sit there with toothpicks, ice picks, poking little bitty holes and try a saw. It'd take me 2 hours to do one of these pumpkins. And I gotta say, they look pretty good when they got done. I always liked my pumpkins, but my hands were so tired at the end. But we would always do that as the first part of our Halloween tradition. And then on Halloween night, our kids would be ready to go out trick or treating. So Sharon and I would go out with the kids. My in-laws would stay in the house and hand out candy and all that. And then later, eventually, my kids got older. They said, "Yeah, we don't want the candy. We want to stay here and hand out the candy." And they'd see the little kids showing up as Buzz Lightyear and princesses and things like that, and gush all over them. That's my daughter. My son's the one who would sit out in a rocking chair, acting like he was a mannequin, until one of the older kids got a little closer, and he would jump out and scare them or grab them. One year he had a water gun. He would squirt them and all of that. They never knew where the squirts were coming from. So yeah, he was the one. One year we had a clear plastic bath sheet, like a shower curtain, hung on one side of our patio, and he would stay way back. And as people got to the door, he would just lean forward into that shower curtain. As he got closer, all of a sudden you would see his face leaning there. He got a lot of kids' attention real quick when he did that. Oh yeah, we had so much fun, and I always would play scary music in the background. We do Halloween up pretty well most years. All right, what do we have on here? Vicky Stone saying, "Do you give out full-size candy to trick-or-treaters?" Well, no, I save the full-size candy for me. No, we don't. I don't. Have we ever? Maybe when we run out or something. No, we get those little snack size. Usually we'll have like one container that's all the licorice whips and the candy corns and things like that. And then we'll have another container. It's got the little bite-sized Snickers and M&Ms and things like that. And so normally we'll take one or two from one or two from the others, and hand them out to the kids. Now, I got to say, a couple of years ago, during COVID, we barely had anyone. And, so in fact, I know during COVID, we just set a container out and said, take what you can, but don't take too much and all. But even before that, there was one year, I guess it was bad weather. We didn't have many people coming by. So the kids who showed up, I would just hold the container out there and say, take what you want. Yeah, whatever you feel like you can stomach tonight, go for it. And there were, most kids were pretty good. There were a few kids that they're probably still eating some of the candy they took from us from that year, because they loaded up, but we had plenty. And that's the thing. Halloween candy is so dangerous. We go to the grocery store and Sharon will pack up all those little fun-sized bags of them that they've got. And she's always like, "Cliff, do you think this is enough? Or do you think that maybe, just in case, do we need more?" And I'm always saying, "Yeah, how about one or two more? Just in case." With the realism or the reality that if they don't get eaten by the kids on Halloween night, I'm the one who gets them. Yeah, Halloween's a dangerous time for me. Thanksgiving, Christmas, all that, I do all right. Halloween, candy. That's my vice. I can't get away from the candy. All right, Amanda's saying, "Just finished with over 100 trick-or-treaters." Well, man, I hope they didn't all come at the same time. Those aren't trick-or-treaters. That's a mob. It's just a mob coming. You must be handing out the good stuff. I gotta say, I remember I had braces as a kid. How old was I? 12, maybe 11, 12 when I had braces. I got braces right before Halloween. And I remember telling my mom and telling the dentist as well, saying, "Can I wait like 3 weeks to do it?" No, we've already got your appointment set. We're not waiting 3 weeks just for that. And all of a sudden, it seems like that Halloween, every person, it's like they're playing a prank on the kid with the braces. Because every person gave me Snickers bars, marathon bars, the little licorice vines, all the stuff that was sticky that I was expressly forbidden from eating. So yeah, of course, even apples and stuff when you first have braces are a little bit tough to do. But yeah, I remember that thinking, my life's ruined. I can't eat anything except M&M's. So woe is me. But yeah, funny little things that you remember, right? All right, Mark's saying, "What do you think of Sammy's gameplay on Survivor?" All right, well, yeah, we're not talking just Halloween. We can talk a little reality TV as well. What do I think of Sammy's gameplay? I think Sammy's doing pretty well. Now, if I recall, is Sammy only 18 or 19? I think he lied about his age, right? So people would trust him a little bit more, or be more willing to maybe give him a little leadership. I think he's playing a pretty good game. Now, he's treading the line a little bit in that at one point, was it Ellie that this whole deal. Gabler found out that Ellie and Janine had been looking through his bag. Gabler came to them and said they said this, and Sammy and Omar are saying, what? Not Omar. So Sammy and Owen are saying, well, I don't know. We'll go clear her name because that's crazy that she would be saying that to you, Gabler. So they almost got caught. They got to be careful about that because Sammy definitely had talked about playing against the women in his tribe, but they don't realize it. Now that they're all merged together in a single unit, he may be able to get away with it because now it's all going to be about that tribe trying Baka strong, although we saw last week Baka may not be nearly as strong as they need to be. But I think Sammy's playing a pretty good game. He's playing a fun game to watch as well. I mean, some people just sit back and try not to create waves, and they make it a long way because of it. And I'm not faulting that strategy. It's not a bad strategy, and maybe it's something that I would do to some degree if I was on the island sometimes, because it is a safe way to play the game. But Sammy, he's playing safe a little bit, but he's also trying to guide the story and guide the actions and everything that takes place. I feel like he's got his hand in kind of stirring the pot a little bit. So I always like watching that. But yeah, I've enjoyed Survivor so far this season. It's amazing. They're only on day 13 or so as far as episodes go, and so much has happened. When things are so compressed, it's incredible. So yeah, I'm enjoying Survivor. Hey, send me out there dressed just like I am now. What would people think if I showed up like this? There's some people that think Gabler's a little of an interesting character this season. I show up wearing this kind of stuff. I'll either be the first boot or they'll be so scared to do anything. I'll wish Davy Jones karma or something on them, and next thing you know, they'll keep me to the very end. Maybe. You never know. All right. So what else do we have on here? Do y'all have any scaries? Let me do this. Let me see. Okay, well, we'll talk about a couple of things. I did have a few stories I want to throw out there. I'll throw in one of them right now. I've got a little scary story. If y'all have some to respond back to me, type away and I'll read as well. I got to tell y'all, the scariest probably moment of my life ever happened when I was probably about 14 or so. Was that old? Nah, it's probably more like 12, 13. My grandmother, my great aunt, was huge into genealogy. She's traced that side of the family all the way back to the colonial times and then some. They came from England and the lowlands of Scotland, huge into genealogy. Well, she had one relative that she was trying to find information for in Tyler, Texas. Tyler's east of Dallas-Fort Worth, a couple hours between Dallas-Fort Worth and the border with Louisiana. So she asked my brother Robert and I, said, hey, can y'all go with me? I'm trying to find a tombstone in Tyler, Texas of one of our relatives. We said, yeah, sure. So we ended up going, the two of them plus my mom plus my dad all went out to Tyler, Texas to go to the city cemetery in the center of town to look for this long lost relative. And all we knew is what his name was and that he had died in 1880s, 1890s, something like that, a long time ago. And to sweeten the pot, to make sure that we were looking as hard as we could, my great aunt said something along the lines of, whoever finds this tombstone, I'll give you $10 as a reward for whoever finds it first. Well, that's all we needed. So my brother and I take off, running from tombstone to tombstone looking for this thing. Well, I quickly realized that most of the tombstones I'm looking at in this part of the cemetery are newer. People who passed away in the 50s and 60s and things like that. So I said, yeah, this guy's been in this place for a long time. I'm going to head to the very far end of the cemetery, or the old part of the cemetery. So I took off running, got so far away from the whole rest of the family. And here's the other thing. It was November, so it was freezing cold. I mean, it was brutally cold that particular day. So the wind's blowing just as you expected, a scary story and all. It's cold, bundled up. But I'm running to the far end of the cemetery to look for the tombstone. I'm looking everywhere. Can't find this thing. But I'm in the right time period. I'm in the early 1900s and such. So I'm thinking, all right, well, I'm closer. Surely I'm going to find it here. I looked all around, did find it. But then I realized there was one section, I guess it was a family plot. It's one of those sections where there's about 20 tombstones and they're surrounded by shrubs, by a hedge, right? That's about 6 foot tall or so. with one little entrance to go into this little family plot. So I say, I bet it's in there. I bet that's the place where my reward awaits me. Yeah, different kind of reward, because I walk in to to this little family plot. I lean down, start looking at the first tombstone. Of course, this is a 100-year-old tombstone, so everything's faded. You got to get really close to be able to read what's written on this tombstone. So I'm getting as close as I can. I'm trying to read it, and all of a sudden, while I'm reading it, I notice out of the corner of my eye, I can see a couple of tombstones over. There's a body laying there. And there's a body in between the tombstone and the bushes that are right there. So it's not but 2 or 3 feet between them. And there's a body laying right there, not 4 or 5 feet from me. And so here's the thinking of a 12-year-old, 13-year-old who sees a body in a cemetery. My first thought is, oh my God, there's a body in the cemetery. My second thought is, all right, if there's a body in the cemetery, who put that body there and where are they located? So, of course, I'm now thinking, all right, great. There's only one exit into this particular little family plot that I'm looking at. And I'm sure whatever master killer, Jason Myers, Freddie, I was going to say Freddie Mercury, not Freddie, whatever Freddie Krueger, Jason Myers, Michael Myers, there's so many of them, Jason Voorhees. See, I got mine down. Whoever that person is, whoever they may be, probably sitting here right behind me. So, of course, what you're never going to do is turn around. Because if you turn around, you're done, right? So I just very at the top of my lungs said, yeah, this isn't my family tombstone I was looking for. I think I'll head back to the rest of the family. Back out of the shrub. As soon as I'm past the border of the bushes, I flew. I had just joined Boy Scouts, so I was 12 years old. I realized as I tell the story, because I had a brand new pair of hiking boots that I was wearing because I was trying to break them in before I went to summer camp the next year or winter camp. And I'm running these shoes as fast as I can. I'm yelling, there's a body back there. There's a body back there. Scared to turn around because I know there's someone with a chainsaw falling right behind me. Eventually, I make it over to within shouting distance. My family can't figure out what's going on. I keep yelling. I tell my dad, there's a body in that shrubbery back there. I saw it. I saw it. I saw it. And my dad's like, yeah, really? Let's go check it out. I said, no, don't check it out. Go to the police and have the police come and check it. No, let's go check it out. That's how horror movies start, right? Except normally it's not your dad that you're going back there with. It's your girlfriend, but I was only 12. So we go back there. As we get closer, all of a sudden my dad does this. And he says, you're right. There is a body back there. It's like, yeah, Dad, what do you think? It's just a pile of dirt. Yeah, I know it's a body, Dad. He says, well, hold on a second. Let's check out a little bit more. Next thing you know, he's saying, look, Cliff, look over there. I look over there. The body has stood up. And now the body is actually urinating against one of the shrubs. Yeah, it turns out he wasn't completely dead yet. He looked dead. That's because he was pretty wasted. Apparently, it was a little town. This is the middle of town. So it's kind of one of the town drunks who had a little too much drink the night before and had found a place between the shrubs and the tombstones where the wind wasn't blowing so hard. And so that's where he chose to sleep off a hangover there. I don't know who was more scared, me or the guy who woke up to hear a 12-year-old screaming and hollering at the top of his lungs as he ran away from him. But to this day, scariest little moment I've ever had in my entire life. I was sure it was a body, and I responded accordingly. I survived. Yeah, I now know what to do if my kids ever see something like that, or grandkids or anything else. But I'll never forget that story. Yeah, it was quite the scare. That was the end of my genealogy days. After that, I said, "Yeah, Aunt Julia, you're on your own from this point on. I think I'll stay over here with the new stuff. Y'all go check it out over there." All right, what do we have over here? Bing Bong saying zombie. Is that what you're dressed as, Bing Bong? Or hold on, let's see. Or what I'm dressed on. Clarify for me. I missed the first part of that. All right. What else do we have on here? Ma saying, I want to can't really, let me read that. I want to something that's what I get for trying not to do this with my glasses. I want to I want to know my ancestry. They came from Alsace-Lorraine, a portion of France occupied then by the Prussians. I want to know their story. Yeah, that's a pretty cool start, Ma. I know a little bit about mine. I know from a couple different family directions. I know, again, on my mom's side, I'm half German, I'm half Czech. Is that? No, I'm half English, quarter German, quarter Czech is the way it works out. So my family's all European from that side. On my dad's side of the family, they actually came from Scotland, the Hogs of Scotland. Three brothers that came over, I want to say in the 1790s, landed in Virginia, ran a store together as three brothers. Then eventually, one of them went to Tennessee, where Hogtown, Tennessee started up. So they started the whole family little town there in Tennessee. The other brother eventually came to Texas and settled after, I guess, the Texas Independence War and all of that. And then the third brother stayed there in Virginia. So when you look at hogs, you got a whole lot of hogs in Texas, in Tennessee, and then over in Virginia. I came from the Tennessee side of the hogs. Apparently, my granddad was born in 1901. In 1902, the family decided to come over to Texas, where people were starting to make some money on oil and gas and things like that. So my Tennessee family migrated over here to Texas, and that's how we got here in Texas. So yeah, I know a little bit here and there, but it's cool. I love hearing genealogy. I've got some family. I've got family members that fought on both sides of the Civil War. I've got some family members who apparently did amazing things during certain generations. I've got a few who are very much the black sheeps of the family who did what they had to do to get by sometimes. Yeah, you know how that goes, right? All right, let's see what else do we have on here. Mark saying, when will Cody get eliminated? It was close last week. What changed? People changed their minds. Cody was in trouble. For those of you who aren't watching and you don't want to see spoilers or hear spoilers, I apologize. I'm not necessarily going to talk about who was eliminated, but you may hear a few spoilers anyway. Cody was in trouble because of the group that was eligible to be evicted, to be eliminated from the tribe. He was the only one from Vesey, right? The Red Tribe. He was the only one. So it was kind of a natural to be able to pick on Cody and make that happen. I think what may have saved Cody was the fact that he had an immunity idol that he had got from those beads when he was able to put the beads together while the tribes were still separate from one another. The other people in the other tribes now know that those beads are good, even if not everyone on Cody's tribe knows that just yet. But I think just the fact that he had that immunity idol may have given him a little bit of protection. Plus, in some ways, I think being the only person eligible, I don't know, it just almost made him seem like too easy of a target. I do think he was lucky. I like Cody. I think Cody's playing a pretty good game, but other than having immunity idol, I feel like he was pretty vulnerable at that point as well. I really expected to see the Baca tribe and the Vesey tribe continue to go after the Blue tribe, the Cocoa tribe. We'd seen one tribal count or one immunity challenge where they helped each other. Vesey and Baca helped each other beat the Blue tribe, Cocoa. And I thought they would immediately merge together and come together to go after Blue. Well, maybe that didn't happen as much as I thought it would. But yeah, Cody's another fun one. Cody works as an elevator salesman. Forget Survivor. Just being an elevator salesman seems to me like a story that would have a lot of stories, or a job that would have a lot of stories built into it. I wonder, how do you get to be an elevator salesman? Did Cody grow up saying, I wonder who sells these things? Maybe. I have a feeling that's just one of those things that kind of happens, but that's kind of cool. I actually knew a person who was an expert on elevators. He could walk into any elevator and tell you whether it was a Dover elevator or there's some German elevator. I learned way too much about elevators just because I was friends with this guy. He could tell you what kind of elevator it was, what model, when it was manufactured, how many of them have been built, how reliable they are. He was kind of the Rain Man of elevators when it comes down to it. Sometimes you don't always want to know too much about the elevators you're riding on. I'll give y'all another quick story, not Halloween, but it's just because it dawns on me as I talk about this. I spent Easter in Venezuela. Unfortunately, I didn't miss that many holidays from the family, but I did miss one Easter because I was down in Venezuela. And the manager of our facility down there said, hey, y'all come over and have dinner with my wife and kids and us and celebrate Easter together. All right, that's fine. So we go over, and it's like a 30-something story building. He lives on the top floor. So we go over there, we have lunch, it's the Easter celebration, all that. Well, while we're talking, he tells us a story about just a couple of weeks ago how the elevator cable broke in their building, and that there were 4 or 5 people that had gotten on the elevator. They got about 5 or 6 stories down. The cable snaps. yeah, the cable snaps. The elevator goes into free fall for another 10 stories or so before the automatic brakes that are part of this elevator immediately or kick in after, not immediately, after 10 stories or so, kick in. But unfortunately, these brakes don't work quite the way elevator cables do. They come to a very quick stop. The elevator wasn't quite lined up when they came to a stop, which caused the doors to blow in. So now the elevator stopped. These 4 or 5 people are inside the elevator. The doors are bent all in two and everything. The maintenance man comes in, runs up, doesn't speak any English, but keeps trying to pull the doors out of the way so they can get these people out. Well, the people are afraid that the elevator doors are the only thing that's holding the elevator in place. So they're screaming at the top of their lungs, stop, no. Eventually they show up. The people who knew what they were doing secured the elevator so it couldn't fall any further, removed the doors, got the people out. They were all saved. No worries whatsoever. Fixed the elevators. But meanwhile, we hear this story while we're sitting on the 35th floor, getting ready to say our goodbyes and head down that same elevator. And so our thinking was, are we going to walk the stairs? That's a long way after a full Easter dinner. But do you really trust the elevator? Well, eventually we took the elevator because the manager had told us that he was pretty certain right there at this point in time, the elevator in his building was probably the safest one in the entire country of Venezuela because they had just repaired it. So based on that, we took it down. But that was a long elevator ride waiting to get to the bottom and knowing that you were safe once you got to the bottom. I know elevators never bothered me until I heard that little story. So there you go. All right. Couple of little comments. Let's see our stories here. Bing Bong saying zombie because that's what I would have thought if a drunk man got up in the graveyard at age 12. You're right. They're coming to get you, Barbara. Yeah, no, Bing Bong, you're absolutely right. And that was before my zombie time. That was before George Romero and Donna did. I saw that at the Midnight Movie when I was 17 or 18 because I got tired of seeing Rocky Horror over and over and over again. And I had a buddy with me who said, hey, that other movie, Dawn of the Dead's playing. Well, what's that? So, you know anything about it? No. He said, all right, well, come with me. We're going to watch it. We watched Dawn of the Dead, and we were only about 5 or 6 people in the theater watching it. I had no idea what to expect. The most gory, the most scary movie I'd ever seen in my entire life. It started after Rocky Horror had already started, which meant when Rocky Horror was over, they all left well before our movie was over. So when Dawn of the Dead finished up, now for those of you who don't know, Dawn of the Dead, eventually the heroes take refuge in an abandoned shopping mall. So it's surrounded by zombies, but they managed to clean out a shopping mall. And when that movie was over, we walked outside. The mall was completely shut down. All the lights were turned off. A security guard had to escort us to the exit of the shopping mall with a flashlight. Open the door. There are our cars. We go out there. Talk about scary, because this is back in the day before everything was 24/7. All the stores and everything shut down at 10 or 11 o'clock at night. So I'm driving back home. Everything looks shut down, abandoned and everything. I just saw the movie with zombies everywhere. That was my introduction to zombies. But yeah, Bing Bong, you're right. If I had seen that movie before I saw the guy in the grave, I would have been thinking the same thing. As it was, I don't know. I could have thought it was Frankenstein or anything, but a guy with a chainsaw or a big old Michael Myers cleaver or something else, that seemed a little more realistic at the time. You know, it did matter. Zombies, Michael Myers, Frankenstein, I'm running full speed with any of them, right? So, yeah, God, I still remember that. It's amazing. Got the adrenaline pump. It's amazing. I still don't have nightmares about it even now. Instead, I just have nightmares about scary clowns inside the Big Brother house. You know that. I think our season of Big Brother may be the last time they had clowns. Y'all correct me. Maybe they've had them since then. I just don't remember. But yeah, I remember those clowns during prank week of our season, and they were vicious going after Nicole, doing slashing your throat kind of gestures to her, making bird noises and flapping their hands like they were birds because they knew she was scared of birds. They went hardcore after her. I thought it was funny at the time, but they still scared me once or twice while I wasn't paying attention. Here's what was interesting about seeing those clowns in the mirrors. It really hit home that there always are people behind those mirrors inside the Big Brother house. You're in there for a while, and after a little bit, you just kind of forget that the cameras are there, that there's people staring at you while you sleep, while you're getting dressed, whatever, that there's still people behind the mirror. But when those clowns would show up, it's like, yeah, they could be standing anywhere, just like everyone else in there. So yeah, it was a kind of an unpleasant reminder that there truly was zero privacy while we were inside that house. All right, what else do we have on here? Michelle Moore saying, did you hear that Turner made Jasmine a muffin table? No, I didn't hear that. I heard he did something for her. I thought it would have been, I know they got a muffin tattoos together, which I thought was kind of cool. I did not know a muffin table. Would it have been a muffin rug? Wouldn't that be what you do if you're Turner? Yeah, I'm glad they can laugh about it because they did not like each other while they were in the house. The fact that they're doing things like that tells me they're past everything that happened in there, and I wish everyone would do that. Some people just, and even this season, we've got people still holding grudges, still upset with one another, people threatening to sue other people based on things that were said or done or what. It's just a game show. People get so worked up on it. I understand because you're talking real lives once you get out, and there's people that certainly come after other people, but there's no need for it. And even my season, we had a little bit of that going on as well. But I really wish when everyone got through with the season of Big Brother, all 16 could just get together, hash things out, and then move on with life, right? And maybe they need to do a reunion show each season, not so much to hear details and things like that, or not so much for the drama, but just force those 16 people to hang out for a little bit longer with each other and maybe hash out some things that happened inside the house and things like that. I don't know if that'd work or not. Bachelor, Bachelorette, they have those reunion shows. It doesn't seem like it ever hashes or calms things down. It only gets people more worked up. But they do that on purpose, right? I think if they did it the right way, you could probably get a lot of resolution. Because that was my thing. When I was inside the Big Brother house, because I didn't go to the jury house, I didn't get time to talk to Nick or Tommy or Jack or some of the people who at one time or another, maybe I felt kind of did me dirty and things like that. And if I had a chance to do it, just talk on a normal basis, I think you can solve a lot of things. But unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to do that because I wasn't in the jury house. And as soon as the finale was over, they released us. And so a lot of people either went home or they went to Las Vegas. So I never really got the chance to talk to all these people and just in a relaxed manner, talk about everything that happened and, oh, what were you thinking? And this and that. It'd be cool. I still would be cool to do, but yeah, so I may not ever get the chance with everyone, but since then I've done it with a few of the house guests, and it's always so much fun comparing notes after the fact on one of these Big Brother seasons. I wish the Big Brother 24 people would do the same thing. I know some have, but not all of them, obviously, right? All right. Mark's saying, raining in Philadelphia, go Phillies. All right, well, your factual part, hey, Houston, we got a roof. If they want to bring game 3 back here to Houston, I'm sure we can accommodate y'all guys. As far as go Phillies, I'm an Astros guy, right? So we'll just leave that right there. The game's rained out tonight. Here you go. Hey, look behind me. See the thunderstorms there? The way I'm dressed, Davy Jones, Karma, doing Cliff Notes Live. How dare they do the World Series on the same night? Yeah, it was all me. I'm the one that sent the rains up there to rain that thing out so we can spend all our focus on Cliff Notes. And then we'll pick it up tomorrow instead. Thank you. I didn't know that. I was going to record the game and had the game recorded. Well, now I won't be in such a hurry to try to rush through the game and see what happened. That's a shame. Come to Houston. We'll show you how to build a roof over your stadiums. Of course, for us, it's not the rain, it's the heat. All right. Victoria's saying you should do reaction videos to The Walking Dead, Game of Thrones, etc. People would like you. Well, Victoria, I hope they like me anyway. But no, I get what you're saying. Walking Dead, the very first episode, incredible. Oh my gosh. Rick waking up in the hospital and not knowing what's going, just and sees Morgan. What an incredible first season Walking Dead was. If you want to see my reaction video for the last season of Walking Dead, not quite as enthusiastic. The reaction video is going to be primarily me doing one of two things: snoring because it's putting me to sleep, or me constantly talking to Sharon saying, who is this person? What's their name? I don't remember what happened to this person. How did they just show up here suddenly? Such a huge fan of Walking Dead to start with. Not so much the later season, but I get what you're saying. Yeah, I've thought about doing the reaction videos. I do think it'd be a lot of fun. I got to figure out how to. I've never known how to do that, and maybe I need to talk to some other people, because I know you can't show the shows on your screen because there's copyright and things like that, right? You just have to have it on the background and assume the person watching the reaction video with you maybe is watching it or knows what happened. I don't know exactly how to make that work, but that would be fun to do. Game of Thrones. I read Game of Thrones before I ever saw the movie, the series. In fact, I intentionally did not watch the first 4 or 5 seasons of Game of Thrones because I was still trying to get through the books. And I said, nah, I'm not going to watch it until I finish up the books. Well, they still haven't finished up the series on the books. So finally, when I ran out of the books, I said, okay, now I'm going to watch it all. So I watched it all and had time to watch the last season, which didn't go the way I wanted, but it wasn't. No, I was going to say it wasn't as bad as some people let out. I felt like they rushed it. I'll just put it like that. I felt like they rushed a whole lot of stuff into that last season. I wish they fleshed it out a whole lot more, but hey, it is what it is. But you're speaking my language, though. Walking Dead, Game of Thrones, those are fantastic shows. I've been in love with them for a long time. Bing Bong saying, when you go into the diary room, what are you looking at? Is there a TV screen or nothing? Here's what you're looking at, Bing Bong. Now, first of all, you've got windows, mirrors all the way around you, just like any other room. But what we're facing is a single camera. It's a lens. It's pointing straight at you. And then off to our right, on the ground, is a little speaker. It's maybe 4 or 5 inches by 3 inches tall or something, laying outside, just your typical kind of speaker. And that's where we hear the producers talking to us. And because they will ask us questions, and you'll say, hey, Cliff, I'm a producer, a director. We want to ask you some questions about this last event. Yeah, okay. Well, what do you want to know? What'd you think when you walked outside, or what are you thinking about the results? And they kind of prod you for questions and answers and all that. Sometimes you get in there and they just say, hey, Cliff, it's been kind of a stressful day. What are you thinking? And then they just let you go on and on. But what you're facing is that single camera. And when you first sit down, you just sit down. And here's a couple of things y'all may not know, little inside scoops. As soon as you come in, you have to take your microphone off and put it in a soundproof box that's off to the side. And the reason being, one of the earlier seasons, something happened and someone was talking in a diary room and people outside could hear what was being said because it went through the microphone. And it was some kind of weird, someone pushed the wrong button, had the wrong connection. So from that point, I think it's because of that. From that point on, we always have to put our microphone inside a soundproof box. It may have something to do with feedback and all too, but anyway, put your microphone in a soundproof box. You sit there, and while you sit there, they say, "Hold on, Cliff, we gotta get focused and everything." And this camera's like backing up, moving forward. The lens is rotating as they focus in on your face and then they say, "Okay, Cliff, we're ready to go." And the other thing you may not know is behind where we sit, there's a big basket, and it has bags, Ziploc bags for every house guest that's still in the house. With all kinds of little things that you may need. For the girls, it's all kinds of makeup and base and whatever they all need. For the guys, it's typically, for me, it was like a little foundation, because I know once I was shaving and I kind of nicked myself and had a little cut. And so they said, go, Cliff, you got a little cut. You think you can cover that up? Sure. So I'm dabbed a little stuff on there, but things like that. Kleenexes in case you're crying, and a comb in case of course, I didn't need so much comb. Now maybe, but not so much while I was in the house. So there's all kinds of little goodies back there that you can use if you need to while you're in there. But now you're just facing the camera, and that's it. And you hear the voice come over that speaker as they quiz you. And when they get done, they say, all right, Cliff, we're done. Thank you. Don't forget your microphone. Pick up your microphone, you head out the door, and that's it. So yeah, we never see anyone. You're never face to face with another person. The closest you ever get to that is during the competitions in the backyard. You can see people up on the second level, cameramen and people reading out the rules and things like that. So you see people then, but you're absolutely forbidden from talking to anyone. Um, they're forbidden from talking to you unless it's someone who's reading the rules, things like that. But zero communication other than that. But at least you see their faces, which sometimes just seeing some new person's face is a bit of a reward in and of itself. All right, what else do we have on here? Wide Garrett said, going to see Justin Moore at Texas Live in Arlington, but we'll watch the video when I get home. All right, well, have fun. Have fun, Wyatt. Wyatt lives up in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, the Fort Worth area. Goes to Billy Bob's, Stockyard, so many fun places. Arlington Live is real near where my family, my mom still lives and all that. So, but I've never been up there. I'm gonna have to go up and spend a little bit more time up in the Dallas-Fort Worth area here before too long, because I grew up there, but I haven't been up there in a while for nearly long enough. So there you go. All right, let's see. What else do we have? I had all these notes. I knew this was going to happen. Some other things there are going on. Talked about the haunted house and all that. I got another little thing for y'all. That haunted house. It was cool where we did the haunted house for a couple years in a row. There was a place that was kind of like SeaWorld. It was called Hawaii Kai. Originally, it's called Seven Seas in Hawaii Kai, and it's right next to Six Flags over Texas. And it was a theme park for aquatic stuff. It didn't make it. It went bankrupt after just a couple of years, but they had built a restaurant that was so cool. This whole restaurant looked like it was inside a big thing of lava, coral, whatever. You walk through this little cave. Inside, it was all looked like it was cave type stuff. And so that's where we had the haunted house every year. And it was really a creepy environment to do it. But one of the things that you had just as you walked into the restaurant was a huge, like, pool fountain kind of area that was, I originally probably had koi fish in or something like that. But anyway, we thought when we were setting this haunted house up, that would be a perfect place to have someone jump out and scare people. And so we had someone that was dressed like the creature from the Black Lagoon. He was in a scuba suit. He had a monster face on, looked like gills and all of that. And he would get down in the water. But then we realized that when people walked in, they could see him in the water. There wasn't any way that he could really hide. So then we got the bright idea, well, let's put a big old thing of dry ice in there, because the dry ice will evaporate and it'll make smoke everywhere. And that worked wonders. You could barely see anything in the front entrance because of this dry ice. It worked fantastic, except for the fact that it dropped the temperature inside this little pond that the guy was in from, I don't know, 60 or 70 degrees down to about 35 degrees. And so the people who did the monster would sit in there for about 20 minutes at a time, and they would get out and they would just be blue and shivering. They couldn't scare anyone because they were so busy shivering the whole time. So we actually got 2 or 3 people who would switch out in these wetsuits all night long. And it was considered the worst possible job that you could have, trying to survive in this cold water so you could jump out and scare people. So there you go. I remember that as well. All right. What else do we have? We talked a little bit about our Halloween traditions and all of that. We talked about the Houston. So we did not talk about the mole, and I'm not going to talk anything. There's already too many spoilers out there. If you have not seen the mole, you don't want spoilers, do not go search on Twitter for hashtag the mole, because there's too many people taking pleasure, it seems like, in spoiling it. But we did finish up the mole, and for those of you who haven't seen it, it was fun to watch. It was interesting. We spent a lot of time trying to figure out who the mole maybe was. I will say one thing without spoiling anything at all. At the end, I wish they'd shown more clues of what we should have picked up on that would have let us know who the mole was. Because that's what they did in the original seasons on CBS. They would spend 10, 15 minutes in saying, oh, if you were paying attention, you would have seen that their baggage had this code on it, or this was written on the wall behind the mole every time he did such and such. Clues like that. Well, they didn't do any of that on the Netflix version. They just kind of said, oh, this person was a mole. And it's like, well, how are we supposed to know that? It could have been so many people. So that was my only disappointment in the mole. But other than that, it was great. So just throwing out an endorsement for yet another reality show. The mole, it was pretty good. I just wish they'd done that at the end. Wow, 7:57. This goes so quick, guys. All right. With that being said, I hope y'all have a fantastic Halloween. I'm worried. I'm worried how long it's going to take me to scrub this stuff off. I'm gonna have to enlist the help from Sharon to figure out the best ways to do it. Take a nice long shower. I don't have to worry about Phillies game, Astros game anymore. Unfortunately, that's a disappointment, but it is what it is. But thank y'all. Thanks to all of y'all for your congratulations to me on my 100th episode. I absolutely appreciate it. Here's the thing. I could talk to a blank wall and all that. I know that, but it wouldn't be fun, and I wouldn't still be doing this through 100 episodes if it wasn't for you guys watching live and watching on replay. Y'all are the reason I do it. Otherwise, I'll just sit here and talk to my wife. So my wife thanks you as well. But no, it's because of y'all the reason I do this. It's just so cool finding the reality fans out there and getting a chance to just share with y'all each and every week. So thank you to each and every one of you. With that being said, if you're new, if you just saw Halloween and wonder who this goofus is with the makeup on and all that, hey, consider subscribing and turning on notifications so you can see because I also cover Survivor and the Challenge, which have been great. Sis and Tommy are still alive. Yay! But they kind of got some people mad. So we'll talk about that next week. But I do cover some other shows. If you turn on notifications, you'll get updates whenever I drop a new episode. But yeah, every Monday night, 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central. I'm going to be out here. I've done it 100 episodes. I expect to do another 100, 200, 300. We'll see. I'll do it as long as y'all will have me. So thank you guys so much. Have a fantastic Halloween. Have a fantastic rest of the week. SKD143. I love my wife. Love my kids. Love all of y'all. Happy Halloween. Cheers, guys. Y'all have a fantastic one. Bye.